Hi ladies, Dionysia here. I wanted to take some time out with you today to speak to you about my upcoming immersion beginning in March. But I want to share with you that I'm currently in Croatia, spending a couple of months here, sort of rejuvenating by the sea, the Adriatic Sea. I actually have beautiful views of the sea from my flat here. But I've been walking around for about half an hour now in the gardens behind the flat, looking for some place that I could speak with you. And it's been a journey that actually is, I think, a nice metaphor for what I'm going to be teaching in this class coming up in March. So the class that I'm referring to is my 6-week Sexuality and Intimacy Immersion. Many of you might remember that I did that last year as well, and some of you were on that journey with me. We had an amazing class. This one's going to be amazing too. We're definitely going to touch on some of the same points that are, I believe, universal to women's sexuality and what we need in intimacy, but I have actually quite a lot of new content for you this year as well. So to share my metaphor, I've been walking around. I have this beautiful garden out back of the flat, and from my second-story window I can see beyond the garden to the sea, and then I have another window that looks directly onto the sea. So I thought I would share with you views of the sea or some beautiful part of the garden. Now, the olive trees that I'm standing in front of right now actually are what I see from my window, so I'm quite happy to be in front of them. But my idea was to use the sea views. And what's true is that there are men working, and the sea path is covered in litter. This is the first day that I've walked out there. I've only been here for a week. Cigarette butts, trash, people not cleaning up after their dogs. And graffiti on the rocks. Now the view itself is gorgeous, and the plants down the cliffside beautiful, and the trees too. But I didn't really find a spot there where I could film and be able to show you what beauty I see. But the metaphor here is that I feel like this is what has happened to women on our planet, and especially our sexuality, and the need to tame it and regulate it and suppress it, and to the point that we just flick cigarette butts onto it, right? And I believe that the way that we see people treat the earth is exactly the same thing as how we see people treat women and their sexuality. And I think most of you don't need me to recount all of the horrors that have happened for women around our bodies and our sexuality throughout time. But more and more, I think, as we evolve and we expand, we come to understand the relationship between the treatment of the earth and the treatment of woman. And that's actually one of the things that I intend to, thank you, Crow, that I intend to be bringing to the material of this 6-week Sexuality and Intimacy Immersion, is where are we now in expansion? Where are we now in the expansion of consciousness as women? So I think one of the major things that we can see playing out on our planet, and that we knew from prophecy would be coming on our planet, is yes, destruction and mayhem, like we're seeing in so many ways, and have been for many years. Like what we're in right now is sort of like seeing the past few years but on steroids, right? And often that's an indication that we're coming to a culmination point before something breaks and opens. But and those things have been prophesied, but also what's been prophesied is the expansion of consciousness, the new age, the new earth, some people call it, but let's stay with expansion of consciousness that comes along with that time. So we know that right now we would not allow another witch burning with the Inquisition on religious beliefs to happen, right? But there are still atrocities happening to women. And as we engage in the expansion of consciousness, then we also have the opportunity to sort of embody that and be that for the benefit of our own lives and the lives of others around us. So from my perspective, one of the ways that we as women are growing and have the opportunity to grow towards and grow into right now, we're going to be talking a lot about this in this upcoming immersion, is how are we embodied? How do we walk as feminine women? How do we embody the values of the feminine? How do we embody what it is to be woman. And we're going to be doing that through our sexuality, the very root of who we are, the very essence of who we are, and how has our understanding of that evolved as consciousness has evolved. So along with the things that you all know me for, like overcoming body image issues and body shame. I have a lot to say about that this time, after having spent most of the past year in Europe, and how women relate to those things so very differently here in many kinds of ways than American women do. And we're going to be talking a lot about embodiment, like what it is to be in this body, what it is to be an embodied sexual woman, an embodied woman comfortable in her sexuality, owning her sexuality, and moving in the world, moving in her life through her sexuality. So we're going to be talking a lot about embodiment in this upcoming immersion, along with practices for how to be more embodied. We're going to be talking about what sexuality is and how we can bring more of it to the good for ourselves. And this applies whether you're in a relationship, whether you have a lover, or you're single, or you haven't had a lover in many, many years, because the essence of who we are is always there, regardless of whether we're sharing those parts of ourselves with someone else or not. We're going to be talking a lot about that in this immersion. And we are going to talk about how do we share ourselves with another person, because that's what intimacy is about in a big way, right? How do we do that in a way that's fulfilling for both of us? And how do we do it in the context of relationships where we've been together for many years, or where we're experiencing conflict, because those two things tend to be the thing that wears away at desire and expression of sexuality. And in this upcoming immersion, we're going to be talking about how we can actually be turning towards our sexual expression and our sexuality with another as the glue that holds the relationship together. So I have a lot for you. There's been a lot moving through my being over the past few months, and really a resurgence for me, as many of you have heard me share. My midlife journey as a woman has not been easy for me. I've had a pretty harrowing experience with my hormonal changes during perimenopause and many other kinds of changes going on in my life. And I know that's true for a lot of you too. There have been a lot of changes for a lot of people. And it can be really difficult to stay rooted in our sexuality, to stay rooted in our womanhood when we're going through such big changes like that, and when there's a lot of chaos around us. And it's an interesting thing to me that it tends to be the thing that we leave, that we do the least of when things are chaotic and when things are challenging. And it's actually the thing that would help us feel most collected and contained and centered if we would stay with it when things are chaotic, when things are challenging. And that's whether that's in a personal, intimate relationship, or whether it's in how we feel about the world at large, or any number of kinds of changes that many of us are experiencing in life right now. So we're going to be applying embodied sexuality to how to navigate chaos and change, because frankly, we've got another easily 2025, maybe 2026 too, of a lot of chaos and change in the world. Like, that's just written in the planets, and every astrologer I've ever listened to is talking about it full force right now. So it behooves us to get grounded in ourselves, to get anchored in ourselves, to get centered in ourselves in a way that we know how to meet those challenges and changes with some resilience inside of ourselves. And not only resilience, but also we can be the light. We can be in our bodies. We can be feeling good. We can be connected to that essence of who we are. We can be moving towards, moving through our sexuality in a way that actually helps us navigate all those changes with flow, to enter chaos with a sense of certainty inside of ourselves. Like, I've got this. I know how to navigate this. I know who I am in this. We're going to be talking a lot in this year's immersion about who are you? Who are you now? Who are you since last year's 6-week immersion, if you were with me then? And who are you if you've never studied with me? Who are you as you've been in your growth path, whatever that is for you, for however long that's been for you now? Because what's been happening is that consciousness has been expanding exponentially. In the same way that you've probably been hearing a lot of people talking about AI expanding exponentially. That's just a technology, mind-driven reality that is a parallel to consciousness, heart-driven, spirit-driven reality. So consciousness has been expanding exponentially. And what that means for us is that when we turn towards it that way and we really look at the ways that we've grown and the ways that we've been walking the path, then we get stronger. We become more powerful. We become more in touch with our inner power. And when we do that from the basis of understanding and owning our sexuality and choosing to approach our world from that place, then we have more power, more pleasure, more love, more juiciness, and more to bring to our lives. So that's what I have in store for you starting in March, and all of the information about the dates and the times are in the email below. I would love to be with you there. It is going to be a meeting space where you'll all get to engage with each other and with me. So there'll be Q&A time at the end of every call where you can ask me questions. You'll also be invited to and welcome to email me between classes. It's 6 weeks of classes so that you can have any of your personal questions answered directly with me about your sexuality, about intimacy, about starting a new relationship, about reviving one that you've been in for a while, about how to bring sexuality into the resolution of conflict. So you're going to have a lot through this class. They are 75-minute classes. We are going to be talking about all the things that I've talked about in this video today. I have so much amazing content for you. I'm very excited about this class, and I'd love to have you there. If you have any questions, my email is in the email address is in the email below as well. So feel free to reach out to me. And if you're seeing this video on YouTube and you're not yet subscribed to my channel and would like to take just a second to click that subscribe button, then you'll be the first to receive all the videos that I release. I put out a weekly video on all kinds of things related to feminine embodiment, sexuality, intimacy, sensuality, empowerment. So I'd love to have you as part of that. And whenever you do click that subscribe button, what it does is help YouTube algorithm spread the word. So that's a very simple, very quick way that you can help other women have access to this information who might not have met it before. And beyond that, again, like I said, I'd love to see you in this 6-week class. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I look forward to being with you there. Sending so much love to you. Blessed be.